All right, welcome again. We are now recorded. We do make these recordings available for everyone who is not able to join us here today. So I'm going to give you that short spiel again so for the benefit of those that will watch the recording. So thank you for joining us here today for today's monthly driving policy webinar. My name is Monica Geraci, and we've got Sam Rossi and Ashley Brinkman from the Government Affairs team, and we're going to be talking about corporate social responsibility, or CSR, and how your company can use CSR to stay ahead of government regulation. A quick housekeeping note, the line will be muted, and if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box, and at the end of the presentation, we will unmute the line for additional live questions. And on that note, I'm going to toss it over to Sam to get us started.
The conference has been muted.
All right, thank you, Monica, and thank you everyone who is on the line with us this afternoon. My name is Samantha Rossi. I'm the Manager of Government and Political Affairs here at the RV Industry Association. So basically, just to give you guys an overview of what we're going to talk about today, I want to provide you with the 20,000-foot overview of what corporate social responsibility is and how that can relate to regulatory and legislative initiatives. We want to put it on your radars if it isn't already. And, you know, this will maybe sound familiar to some of you if you were in the room during our Public and Legislative Affairs Committee meeting. But I'm going to start by jumping right into why you should care about this. So corporate social responsibility, when executed well, can help preserve self-regulation and lead to doing better business while doing good for your employees, communities, and the planet. And kind of the call to action here today will be to think about how you can integrate these considerations into your company and consider creating or improving upon an existing CSR program. So what is CSR? In jargon, it's a form of corporate self-regulation integrated into a business model. It functions as a self-regulatory mechanism by which the business monitors and ensures active compliance with the spirit of the law, ethical standards, and national or international norms. What that means in English is that it's a company's initiative to assess and take responsibility for its effects on environmental and social well-being, generally beyond existing legislative or regulatory requirements. And so you may be asking, why go above and beyond? And this goes to the license to operate argument. And that says that every company needs tacit or explicit permission not only from governments, but also communities and other stakeholders to do business. And I'll touch upon this issue in a moment. So a popular way of evaluating CSR efforts is the triple bottom line, and that is people, planet, and profit. So people includes fair labor practices, community, and the region where the business operates. And these are things like considering the social, mental, and physical well-being of employees, performance and accountability processes, employee education, training, and communication, incident reporting and investigation, and safety. It can also be promoting healthy living, as simple as arranging for employee discounts at local fitness centers, quarterly wellness-centric lunch and learns, or providing more ergonomic office equipment. Planet is what you would think. It's sustainable environmental practices. It's monitoring and reducing emissions, considering your energy use and conservation, waste reduction, and even supply chain issues like workers' rights and procurement transparency. And finally, profit. And what a lot of people may miss about CSR is that profit is still a consideration. This means that your business remains financially viable. I mean, businesses that are not successful financially won't be around long enough to do any sort of good. And so why should you consider CSR? And here we're going to go back to the social license to operate argument. It can help preserve self-regulation because it can help persuade regulators, legislators, and the public that a company takes health and safety, diversity, and the environment seriously. And by doing this, you can preempt the legislature or the public turning its eye upon you for bad things that are happening. For example, there are instances of cities and states that have actually banned fracking due to distrust of that entire industry. And this is an example of communities revoking an industry's social license to operate. Returning to the people prong, focusing on people by improving worker safety and well-being can lead to a safer, happier workplace, which then leads to less employee turnover. And this includes considering the social, mental, and physical well-being of workers. Studies have actually found some evidence to suggest that CSR helps employee retention in a variety of ways, including that the increased employee engagement leads to more motivation and helps you cultivate a high-quality workforce. This especially can help attract talent, especially millennials and younger employees who tend more and more to want to identify with the values of their employer. It can help you preempt negative campaigns. If you've cultivated a positive perception or a reputation for doing good, you'll receive the benefit of the doubt more often. Especially today with the 24/7 media landscape, falling short on any of the above can lead to reputational damage and can lead the public and in turn legislators and regulators to turn their eye towards you. How do we know that you're more likely to get the benefit of the doubt? Because consumers are saying so. More and more surveys reveal a growing segment of consumers who either reward or intend to reward firms that address environmental concerns in their business and who punish firms that appear to ignore environmental and societal imperatives. So the best outcomes can lead to positive consumer perception and brand differentiation, a potential increase in consumer loyalty and brand loyalty, and studies even suggest a correlation between social and environmental performance and financial performance. So some common pitfalls are appearing disingenuous. A company's motives need to be genuine or it can seem hypocritical or a cover. A good quote to illustrate this idea is that on Earth Day in 1995, Newt Gingrich actually said that with major polluters such as Texaco and Monsanto attempting to sponsor Earth Day, and every politician in the nation claiming to be for the environment, it's getting hard to figure out who is really protecting the planet and who is poisoning it, which leads me to my next thing, which is greenwashing and misdirection. And this is feigning interest in CSR or making outward displays while still engaging in morally questionable or inherently unsustainable conduct in the background. Companies have in the past used CSR programs to direct public attention away from other harmful business practices. And it's basically talking the talk without walking the walk. And consumers, regulators, and legislators can see that and smell that from a mile away. And finally, improper utilization. Viewing CSR as merely a way to placate pressure groups can lead to the above mistakes, appearing disingenuous or greenwashing because those actions aren't coming from a real place and aren't something that resonates with your business. So now just for some real-life examples of CSR done poorly and CSR done right, our cautionary tale today is from Nike, who in the 1990s was claiming that its workers were protected from sexual abuse, paid in accordance with applicable local laws, paid on average double the local minimum wage, received free meals and health care, and that working conditions complied with local laws. And they said this everywhere, in press releases, letters to newspapers, letters to university presidents and athletic directors, and in PR documents. But in 1996, someone leaked an Ernst & Young audit commissioned by Nike of one of its Vietnamese factories, and this documented a range of unsafe worker conditions. So actually, a private citizen in California ended up suing Nike for misrepresentation under the state's false advertising law, and a California court found Nike liable for damages in that case. However, and not to throw Nike under the bus here, it seems that they have learned from this, as it has taken strides in sustainability and CSR and even landed on several top outstanding CSR report lists. So to discuss kind of what can go right and some good examples from our very own industry, I'm going to turn it over to Ashley Brinkman, our legislative analyst.
So we've started a new series on corporate social responsibility where we are featuring RV Industry Association members who are leading the way with impressive CSR efforts in our industry. We have featured so far Winnebago Industries, Grand Design, and KOA Care Camps, and have more RV industry members to be featured in upcoming articles. So with Winnebago, for example, we discussed what does CSR do for your bottom line? Do consumers really want their companies to be more socially conscious? And what is Winnebago doing to better invest in its consumers, employees, and community? So Winnebago offered examples from their specialty vehicles line and their exciting new partnership with the National Park Foundation. With Grand Design, we discussed sustainable environmental practices, the political environment of environmental policy, and their recycling efforts. And with KOA Care Camps, we focused on motivations for CSR involvement, their efforts to connect kids fighting cancer to the outdoors, and how to get started with a CSR program. So, are there CSR initiatives underway at your company? Would you like those efforts to be featured in upcoming Spotlight in this series? Well, please contact us here on the Government Affairs team, and we'll start that discussion. And in the follow-up email after this webinar, you'll be provided with all of our articles we've published so far and our contact information so your company can be featured, or just a plug-in to get more information and guidance.
Thank you, Ashley. And now we're going to jump into some practical considerations for starting or improving upon a program that you may already have. And so some important factors for success are an actively engaged leadership. That excitement and that enthusiasm really needs to come from the top. The CSR efforts need to be aligned with your corporate brand purpose because, again, this has to be genuine, and for it to feel genuine and be genuine, it has to be something that aligns with your brand. There needs to be action and not just rhetoric, and a way of doing that is to focus on the human and social interest by thinking about the needs of your community and society. So to get started, choose which social issues to address and select issues that intersect with your particular company's brand and identity. Start with a purpose and list and rank these issues, considering your motivation. Is it to reduce pollution, improve employee morale, or build your brand? Next, develop your strategy. Consider talking to one or more of your employees who will have or who do have oversight of the CSR program and identify the types of resources you have available to support your goals, such as product donations, employee volunteer time, and staff expertise. Write out your business plan. This will help you document your goals and encourages stakeholders to sign on. Recruit and incentivize staff volunteers. This can be a low-cost way to start, and it can be as easy as organizing a group of willing employees to take part in a walk to raise money for a favorite charity, or as robust as matching C-suite executives with available nonprofit board seats. And finally, showcase your good work. Communicate internally and externally. Showcase CSR efforts in employee newsletters, alerts to the trade press or media, and the RV Industry Association news article posts. This shows not only the public, but also the legislators and regulators that you are taking initiatives in this space and are responsible corporate citizens. And just remember that no one size fits all, and that your efforts should be tailored for your needs and goals. For more information, for a look at what's being done in the auto industry, you can check out the Automotive Industry Action Group. Their corporate social responsibility work is guided by a CR steering committee, which is comprised of senior staff volunteers from member companies that include Ford, General Motors, Honda, Toyota, and many others. Next is triplepundit.com, who is a leader in the CSR space. Next, many major corporations now publish their CSR reports online for some real-life examples of what other companies are doing. And of course, the RV Industry Association blog. So in conclusion, we just want this to be on your radars, both to help improve your relationships with your communities, to do better business, and also to kind of get on the good side of the public, on the good side of regulators and legislators before they come knocking on your doors for the wrong reason. And if there's anything you're ever interested in exploring more of for a future presentation kind of in this space, please reach out and let us know. And with that, I'm happy to open it up to any questions.
The conference has been unmuted.
So you all have been unmuted, so go ahead and you can speak any questions you may have. I do have one here. How does this relate to the announcement from the Business Roundtable from last week?
So basically, for those of you who don't know, earlier this week the Business Roundtable released a new statement of purpose for a corporation, and the big news here is that shareholder value was kind of placed towards the bottom of the statement. And so it really was a recognition of the fact that today many corporations, the public, and consumers view corporations as more than just shareholder value, but a force for good in their communities and the world. And so whether or not you necessarily agree with that, your company agrees with that. It's a recognition that this is a trend right now, and it is, an important issue for you to be aware of, that is the consumer perception of corporate purposes.
Thank you, Sam. Do we have any questions from anyone on the line? All right. Well, thank you all for your participation today. A recording of today's webinar will be available on the rvia.org website for you to share with colleagues who may not have been able to join us today. And this afternoon, you will be receiving an email with a short survey about today's webinar, as well as the PowerPoint slides. The survey does ask if you have any suggestions for future webinar topics, and I strongly encourage you to suggest a topic. We want these webinars to be as valuable as possible for you and your company, so if there's something you want to hear about, please let us know. We hope you have a great rest of your day and that you will join us on Wednesday, September 11th at 2 p.m. Eastern for the next driving policy webinar. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Please stand by.